Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and together we are your KTR car guys, heard here every Saturday from 11 to noon at Bumper Radio. We are helping you, the motoring public, and I'm part of the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. So if you got car questions, we've got car answers. So we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text us at 411-923. And today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, we are going to save you $30,000 on automotive expense. Stick around. We'll show you how to do that later on in the show. Of course, open phones and text. And how do you budget for car expense on the 200,000-mile car? You know, when I was growing up, or probably before I was growing up, we got Carrie sitting here.
Have you grown up, Dave?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
we got Carrie sitting here, and by 75,000 miles, his parents were looking for a new car. I said, they didn't even have oil filters back then, man. So, sorry, Carrie. But cars have changed at 100,000 miles. The car was totally worn out back in the day, but honestly, modern car is at least good for 200,000 miles if you take care of it. I mean, I've seen 100,000-mile jalopies because people don't take care of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've got to set this in motion early on. When you get this car, is how you make it to 200,000 miles is how you treat it in the early years.
Well, the biggest problem that I see that people do is they'll have a repair at let's say their car's got 80, 90,000 miles on it, and they're like, oh man, this car's falling apart. You know, I got to go get a new car, and they'll be staring at a $500 repair, and they'll go fix a $500 repair with $30,000 on a new vehicle, and I think it's because the expectation wasn't there about what happens with a car. So let's go from A to Z on what it's going to cost you to keep a car for 200,000 miles.
All right, let's go. So we're talking about your normal, everyday, average, I'm going to call it your popular import or domestic car. This is your Honda Accord, your Toyota Camry,
Chevy Malibu,
your RAV4, your Malibu, your Fusion, whatever it is. We're going to dabble into some of the Audis and Volkswagens and Mercedes. They a lot of times they fit into this category. The number is just a little bit bigger, but we're talking about the cars that you look around the stoplight, and that's most of them.
So let's take year one. You're going to drive, the average Arizonian drives this car 15,000 miles a year. So year one, you buy the car with 10 miles on it.
Let's back up 1 second, though. So we've got this car. It's brand new. What's our car payment?
Our car payment is going to be probably $500.
$500 a month on a $35,000 car. Okay.
$500 a month on a 5-year loan. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So it's got 10 miles on it. It smells really good. The payment book hasn't showed up yet, but I know it's coming later on in the month. But when it gets there, it won't be as much fun. But that first year, I'm going to get 3 oil changes. That's an oil change every 5,000 miles. I'm going to get 1 cabin filter. That's the filter that keeps the air clean in the car. 1 air filter. That's the air that the engine ingests. And I'm going to probably throw a tire balance on the car. If I add that up with just average prices, I'm at $290. That's $24 a month, year one, to take care of that car.
So that's year one. Year two now looks a lot like year one. We're going to get 3 more oil changes, 1 every 5,000 miles. Somewhere towards the end of year two, we're going to get a cabin air filter probably. We're doing those once a year. Probably going to need an engine air filter in our dusty conditions that we have. Rotate and balance the tires. Maybe a set of wiper blades in there, you think, Dave?
I think a set of wiper blades. So now instead of $290, we're at $340 a year, which breaks down to $28 a month. So plus our $500 car payment that we've got going on. Mm-hmm. So year 3, we're going to be taking it from 30,000 miles up to 45,000 miles. That's the mileage span. I know I'm going to get 3 oil changes. I know I'm going to get that cabin filter. I know I'm going to get that air filter. Year 3, up to 45,000 miles, there's pretty good odds that I'm going to get a set of front brakes. That's going to be most vehicles. I mean, there's some vehicles that aren't going to need them.
Used to say we do brakes maybe 27 to 35,000 miles. I think they're lasting a little bit longer. So, yeah.
So year 3, we're doing brakes. You know what? We're going to need tires.
Probably.
So this is an average car. We're going to throw $600 in there for tires. It's time to service that transmission, so we're going to do $250 for that. We're going to need a wheel alignment.
$100.
And I'm going to throw in another $100 of just miscellaneous stuff. Plus, we're going to need an interstate battery. $150 for an interstate battery.
Year 3, but Dave, what are we factored in for oil changes? Like $40 to $50 average is an oil change. We're not cheap Charlie. We're not going for the most expensive. Good quality service. Okay.
Yeah, $50 on a service by tax and all the other things that goes in there, waste disposal fee. So year 3, we've gone up to about $1,500 in regular maintenance. A battery is, believe it or not, every 3 years is maintenance. I mean, that's something you need every 3 years.
I mean, you might get lucky and catch that battery under your 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. This is also the year where that car is going to come out of warranty. That's no big deal, though. The car is going to go to 336, no problem. We're going to have some little stuff. Maybe we want to clean the fuel injection system. Maybe you're going to have a headlight bulb burnout or a taillight. That's no big deal. So what do you got for the math there on year 3, Dave?
So year 3, you got a budget $127 a month, but we want to throw that in with our $500 car payment. So that car right now, and we're not talking insurance and all those other things that go along with it, but it's still a $500 car payment.
So if you're doing the Dave Ramsey deal, you got an envelope that's labeled car maintenance, and you're throwing $127. You got it stashed in the closet or in the safe or somewhere at home or in that separate account, right?
That separate account. So let's go on to year 4. So now we're going to go, year 3 we went up to 45,000 miles, but year 4 we're going to go from 45,000 to 60,000 miles. Those oil changes are still there. They never change. 3 oil changes, 1 cabin filter, 1 air filter. You know what? We got front brakes last year. This year it's time for rear brakes. We're going to throw $300 in there for that. Maybe balance the tires, the new tires we got the last year. Probably a good idea to service the coolant and, again, a set of wiper blades for monsoon season. So in year number 4, now we're, $750, $800. So let's call that $65 a month that you got to throw in the envelope.
Yeah, and now year 4, we're talking about some things. Dave, we have experience with these cars getting up into these 100,000 miles, and a lot of the manufacturers talking about things that are going to make it a lot longer. And some people might say, a cooling system service, my manual says I can make to 100,000. But the goal is to not make this car make it to 100,000. We want a 200,000-mile car. So we're going to tighten up a little these little maintenance things on areas where we know this Arizona heat beats them up. So you're driving that 4-year-old car now. We got to think about getting outside the manual just a little bit, but we're budgeting for this. That's the key.
And outside the manual in the other direction, too, because on some of these Hondas, they got a little asterisk in the timing belt at 60,000 miles, which is way too early in my estimation.
We can talk about that.
So we'll talk about that later. So that's your 4th year. So we went from spending $25 a year to $35 a year. Now we're up to $65 a month that we're budgeting. We're sticking that in the envelope.
During that year. It was a little more the prior year. So now year 5, 60,000 to 75,000 miles. A couple things are going to happen in year 5. We're still going to get those oil changes. We're still getting a cabin air filter. Maybe a battery. I've got that on my list here, Dave. It's probably still under warranty if you got that good one.
Right? Still covered by Interstate. You bet.
Maybe we're going to get a belt. Serpentine belt might be worn out by now. So now we've made it to the end of 75,000 miles. Guess what just happened? You just paid off the car. Your 5-year loan is done. Woo! You got $500 a month to go party with, right?
Well, and I think I threw a fuel service in there also. So you might be spending, on average, $80 a month. You budget $80 a month to take care of your car. That's your expense. So car payment's done. Don't go spending that money just yet. So what we want, we're coming into year 6.
But so what do we want to do with that car payment, Dave? I mean, now we're at 75,000 miles. We want to get this car to 200 or 150. That's what the goal is. So let's think about saving half that car payment, because we're going to get to some stuff in year 7 that we'll talk about, and you're going to need some money for that.
So put that money away. So for 6 months, go ahead and take that $500 a month and just throw it in a different envelope in a different copy can on a different side of the yard for year 7 and taking care of this car. So that's year 5 goes up to 75,000 miles. Still on this car, really at 75,000 miles, a modern car, nothing is even broken. I mean, maybe a window regulator or something like that, but I don't foresee anything breaking up through
really
year 5. Nothing really there. So here we come in year 6, all right? We still got to do oil changes. We still got to do cabin filters, air filters. We're back to needing the front brakes again, and it's time for the second set of tires. So the thing I did differently with year 6 is I threw in a $500 event, because that may be something like, the alternator went bad.
Something's going to happen. Maybe that window regulator.
Window regulator went bad. Alternator went bad. That happened. So in year 6, I'm up with that $500 event. Really in the maintenance type stuff and the normal stuff, we're at $1,400 with a set of tires, but we throw in the $500 event. So you're going to spend $2,000 that year keeping that thing, private ownership. We're taking good care of that car.
I mean, you take this year 6 car now, kind of following these rough guidelines. You have got a nice 6-year-old car. It's not like that other pile of junk, sitting at the stoplight that they haven't taken care of. They haven't got it into their shop 3 times a year for this maintenance. You have got a good, solid car.
So now we're going to be coming up, and when we come back, we're going to talk about year 7, because year 7 is when everyone thinks, oh, no, the car's taking a bunch of money. I got to go get a new car. And, man, you just paid that baby off. Let's get the money of that sucker. Let's ring that thing out to 200,000 miles. And you know what? We got more money in our wallet